Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. This is a new kind of experimental version of Sleep With Me we've never done before. So welcome. These are just bedtime stories from our podcast, Sleep With Me. And to make them feel fresh, these ones are from a couple of years ago. So if you're a regular listener, you might get a refresh. And if you're new, these are just bedtime stories from a show called Sleep With Me. They're strange, they're meandering, they're a little bit different. And all this is made possible by listeners like you, regular listeners like you. And so I just want to let you know that's how we're able to put the show out. And so if you are a fan of Sleep With Me, you listen to it on a regular basis, please consider supporting the show. You get ad-free episodes, you get ad-free story-only episodes, tons of other cool stuff at Sleep With Me Plus. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. But if you're in a position and you have some money every month, or you say, hey, maybe I don't watch that streaming service, I'd rather give it to a podcast, think about your favorite podcast. It doesn't have to be Sleep With Me, and support that podcast. If it is Sleep With Me, I consider supporting the show would be great. But if it isn't, or there's a podcast you listen to way more, brings you a lot of value during the day, please support that podcast. Podcasting's going through a different time right now, and your favorite podcast, the one you get the most out of, could use your support the most. So consider supporting it however they request support. Just check it out, like listen to the show or check out their website, or consider supporting Sleep With Me. If Sleep With Me, you say, oh no, Sleep With Me is the one I listen to the most, sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster that's here to just barely, not even barely entertain you. You say, Sleep With Me podcast, that's not even barely entertainment. So I don't know how I could put that in a song, but I don't need to, because it should be, well, it's not self-explanatory. That's why I need to explain that it's barely not entertainment. Because once upon a time, they said that's entertainment, and then someone might say that's barely entertainment. I'd say, well, it's not even barely entertainment. Sleep With Me podcast. I'm not even here to barely entertain you. But that's not also an innuendo. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt and socks. I got socks on, so my feet are warm. What does this have to do with anything? Well, I don't know. I don't know if I can explain it, but you're in the right place, because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And when your hand hits that fridge tomorrow, remember, these are the sponsors that enable us to be here for you free twice a week. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. This is a quick message here. If you get a lot out of Sleep With Me, if you're a regular listener, you like these new things we're trying out, like the story-only version of the show. If you're new, don't worry about any of this. But if you're a regular listener of Sleep With Me, or you're a regular listener of any podcast, if you have a favorite podcast, and it's not Sleep With Me, that's totally cool. If you have podcasts you listen to way more, or you get way more value out of, I totally understand that. Consider supporting that podcast. Podcasting as an industry is kind of going through a weird phase right now. Direct support from listeners is going to be, it seems like it's going to be the future of most shows. And so consider supporting the podcast you really love. And you could do that. You could find out, you could listen to the show and see how they ask to be supported, or reach out to them and say, hey, how can I support you? Or if you can't afford, a few dollars a month, you say, hey, how else can I support you? But if Sleep With Me is the one, Sleep With Me Plus is the best way to support Sleep With Me. Sign up for Sleep With Me Plus. Not only you get an unbelievably sweet, different ways to listen to the show, but it's a huge help for us to be able to do stuff like this. But yeah, think about what your favorite podcast is, and then go ahead and go to their website, or if you already know how they like to be supported, support that show. Thanks and good night. Everybody, Scoots here, and this is episode 8, Forgotten Bakes. Holy cow. Collection 5, Forgotten Bakes. And, this last week was not easy saying goodbye to Yan. And we'll go through my notes here and then go to the tape. Starts off with Noel and Sue. He says, I totally nailed it, baking, but he forgot to bake in the oven, which is kind of the pun. And then he says, I forgot the bath was running, which reminds me of that bathtub story I've told a few times on the podcast. And then we go into the kind of teaser, don't leak, technical talking heads, Final 5, quarterfinals, harder, consistent, 3 good bakes. Foghorn, that can't be right. Fog. Is there anything with 2 G's in here? Classic Creations, that's our first alliteration. Oh, Forgotten Classic Creations. That has 2 G's. Forgotten, maybe. Prue and Paul, double question mark. Farm work versus tin miners. I know it's tin miners. I don't know if it was farm workers. Clanger. It's a weird name. Suet. And then I put, is a bird suet the same thing? Suet replaces butter and lard. Try not to overwork it. Mediterranean medley. Everything, West Coast medley. Is there something but medley, right? Medley and melody are 2 different words. That's not on my notes. That's just my brain was popping in here. What sort of pastry, Peru, says Sandy and Kate, and not soil my hands. Liam, short, flaky pastry, but robust. Pizza topping. Take a set on Paul's face. Oh, pizza topping, like takeout. And he uses on dip. Oh, Paul's face on dipping sauces. And even Prue's like, what? But Noel does say, yeah, they dip in, there's dipping sauces with pizza. I mean, in high school, my friend Kurt, he was the first person I know that dipped, he would dip his slice in blue cheese. Wet filling, stress, good luck, Wallist, like, I like that. When they use that, that's a word we don't get use of. And because Wallist, Scooter's trying to pronounce a word. The show moves on. Wallace, Sophia Charsu, confident, yeah. Taking every week as it comes, though. Kate, burrito, beacon, banana, apple. But being burrito, I think, clanger with banana and apple is a dessert. So clanger is like a pastry, a bit like a roll. Brilliant idea. Like from my understanding, I haven't done any research, but just from what I picked up the episode, a bit like a little bit longer. I'm trying to use not that different than burrito, but it's a baked pastry, bigger than an empanada, and a different shape than an empanada or what's the thing called, a calzone, but long too. But like 2/3 would be savory for your lunch, and 1/3 would be your desserts. And it was like robust in the sense, the way Paul was talking about it, that you could pull it out of your, when you're eating lunch, you could just eat it like a sandwich. But I didn't realize how important historically desserts were for lunches. And I don't know if this is just in the UK, another place I haven't gone deep on, but, between school lunch desserts and working class desserts here, this is cool stuff to learn. I mean, have a dessert. Why do people, because they had a dessert. I mean, what better thing to look forward to during your workday? Let's see. Steven sticks to it, rolling up. So he's, to the 1/3 sweet, 2/3 savory. Oh, don't look back and clanger from Oasis. Gasp. Even somebody gasped when Noel made that joke. All the gear, no idea. Rolling up slashes to differentiate sweet and savory. Half an hour left. Not going to leak. Don't leak. People are very concerned about the leakage. 15 minutes. Stacy afraid to look. Everyone else at their ovens watching. Big music. 8 minutes on the clock. Stacy has a leak. Liam, dipping sauce is in. Stephen, 214 degrees. Kate, no baking. Lots of leakage. One more minute. Out they come. Not pretty, frowns. Liam, OMG. Hot syrup, how bake? Lavash. Make versus make. Hot syrup, how bake? Lava versus make. Kate drops a clanger on the floor. End of challenge. Actual disaster. Or absolute disaster. Kate, the judging comes, looks a bit of a mess. Which Earl pastry tough, not cooked, needs more sesame time. Rice, oh, all you get. Sweet like proper good. Oh, so her sweet thing was really good, though. It was like a rice pudding, I think. Liam, uniformity, great color. Looks good. Paul, fake feed Sandy, which she doesn't like, of course. So good on flavor. So delicate, delicate, flavor's good, balance. So remember that. This is Liam did very well. Sophie, lovely color. Love the pog. Love the pog. Love the peg. Robust. The pig. She did pig decorations for the savory side. Little thick, soy flavor, not much else. Bit dry, bit of a shame. Stephen, not robust to carry. His was a little bit different shaped too, but Paul said he couldn't hold it like a sandwich. Very good, moist, tender, flavor proper, pudding delicious, just curing shape. Stacy, Blueprint Enterprise. That's not what that says. Stacy. Bloomering explains. Pastry, Nico, nice and flaky, lovely. A blueberry explosion. That's what that says. Nice and crisp, good texture. She gets a Hollywood handshake from it. Even though she was worried about her leakage, she nailed it. And we got some talking heads about clangers, pink mouse. I said, what does that mean? Like somebody says, the only thing I think of a clanger is a pink mouse. Rain and thunder, lots of rain outside. Next up, they're supposed to make a classic terrain or something. All about Purvis, Rum Nikki. Oh, all about precision, maybe Paul says. Classic take. I don't know. They're supposed to make something called a Rum Nikki. Short crust beige rum butter. It's a bake, forgotten bake, obviously. Cumberland bun, Nikki? Nah, don't know what that is. So no one has even heard of this thing. Now, it does sound really good, and the alcohol bakes off, so it's something I was like, I could eat that. Tart fruit. It's a fruit tart, warm mass, rum is king. 55-minute bacon spoon. About to make a spoon and bowl to make butter. That's it. So they use dry fruit, standard tarts, 50 milliliters of rum, but no way to measure it. So everybody's guesstimating. Short crust pastry. So you're supposed to use nice light rubbing action. Filling, livid tin plus butter, liquid. I don't know what that says, but butter on the top, the fruit and rum and butter. And then the pie, it's a pie. It's a pie, actually. Lined tin, filling lined tin. To the edges of the tin, it has a lattice pie, though, so the alcohol steams off. Stephen doing a pull-apart lattice. Noel tries to talk up Kate's lattice versus Stephen's style. Half hour left. The lattice is not easy. Stephen has to go back to the drawing board. Egg wash is on lever. Steam is not enough. Wok temple upon. Some real egg wash in oven. Liam and Stephen not in oven yet. Whack temple upon. Whack, that's a W, right? Whack temple. T's capitalized. Upon. Liam's still not in trains. It's rum butter. Lots of sugar, 1 minute. Lots of butter making, 30 seconds, messy raw. So Liam, they say major issue, not cooked, raw. Bit of a disappointment. Sophia, no gaps in her lattice, not to the edge of the tin. Something rum flavor, but grainy with the butter. Stephen, more like it, sparse lattice. I can eat it a lot, or something. Like Bruce says, I could keep eating this, I guess, or maybe the butter. I don't know. Stacy, lattice good, flavors lovely, looks neat. Kate, sharple back, colors not bad, nearly done, very good, smooth butter, perfect butter. So it comes in 5 Liam, 4 Sophie, 3 Stacy, 2 Kate, 1 Stephen. And then we have a round of talking heads that we'll cover in a bit. One checking left, bake to text, table talk. So then we do the table talk with Paul and Prue and everybody. Steven safe, get good. Stacy got a handshake, charger. Prue wants Liam to make it to Star Baker. Oh, no, she wants Stacy to be a Star Baker. She says this is Stacy's time to shine. Paul wants Liam to make it to the next round. Sophie is in trouble. Who could believe this, they say. It's down to the Showstopper. Prue, Magic Nelf, Morning Bakers, Victorian thing, this making this Savoy cake, was rather inedible. Any flavor they can do it must be on Brunel. Oh, be the Brunel of baking. It's got to be on this thing. So they got to make a cake. Oh, we'll get into it. Last bake. This cake is complete unknown. Eggs in a bowl. Sophia has cakes versus stodgy pastry. Oh, Sophia prefers making cakes, or Sophie to making pastry. Prue talks, Paul talks. No rising agent, no fat. So this has got to be exquisite. You really got to be careful with your eggs. I mean, I like this because they built towards it with a few other things this season. Like as far as the procedure, right? This has to be exquisite. Sandy carves history, cake and doilies. So they do a history segment, a coating of hard bakes, sugar to pressure cake, weeks, months. Power of eggs, don't rush. Stacy's not holding back. Bright lemon and ginger. Why complicated? I'll tell you why. Good luck. Liam and Sophie, citrus zest, but not everyone, not Steven. Plain cake, make it delicious. Chestnut, rum, cinnamon apples, add Stelvy. Add structure. The chestnut's going to add structure. Make some flavor. Kate, pecan and caramel. Tell us about it. Live breathing, Liverpool. Oh, she's making a building, Liverpool building. So Paul loves that. Liverpool landmark. Oh, the Liver building. It's spelled liver, but I forgot to I think it's Liver building, but it's Liver. Liver or Liver. It's not liver though. Liver, that would make sense. Happy, 60 eggs, go big or go home. Wallace to Liam, Watcher, be wizardry, Fort Wizardor. So they're getting around the trademarks. I love it. Barber cancel? No, that can't be right. Turtle, got it out of mold. Trouble. So you have to put these things in a mold with a sugar shell that would help preserve them. But then you have to get them out of the mold with the sugar shell intact. Yes, but true. Idea is crust of sugar perfectly smooth. Grease it up. Make sure batter gets into every nook and cranny. Intercut of fingers crossed. Sophia, crowned in parliament. No, covered in parchments. Yuzu buttercream. Oh boy, that sounds good. Chocolate pool. Height, yeah. Up, into over. Sure tries. Shoe buns. Stephen. Leave an hour. Focus on trimmings. Except for Kate, who has 4 more cakes. Stacy, macaroons. Lisa, Liam. Cavatal. Caramel. Liam's making caramel. Sophie's green. Quite tricky. Do you not have it in a tart? Inherent to this. Cake festing. Hop it comes. Out. Done. Oboe music. Stephen out. Little left behind. Stacy, holage. Sophia out okay. Cake more. Liam really happy. Make the plinth. So that's the thing that supports it. More eggs. Sophie works on her shoe pastry. Stacy panning for gold. Back in oven. Liam, 1.5 hours. Stephen, U.S. meters. 45 minutes, that says. Stephen, 45 minutes or U.S. meters. Decorations. Liam works on the wands. Stacy, Jenny made cake. Double question mark. I think that's what she said. I said, I don't know what that is. Stephen, sugar paste roses. Stacy, roll out of, she breaks the oven door off. Or falls apart on her. Luckily, there's a backup oven. Holds down. For a while, she has to hold the door on. Move out. Kate Plint, stuck. Stacy, regroup. Stacy, another oven. Matches chilled in fridge. Paul and Stephen. Liam, shaky hands. Kate, oh no. Killing Coco Bard. Savoy, oh. Baked sponge sugar assembly. Sandy shaves Stephen. They're a little fake. It's a funny thing. Kate really stressed. Liam done early. Assembly. Liam sugar dissolves. 5 minutes. Don't drop it. Liam place. Don't melt sugar, please. Time is up. Showstopper Savoy cake. End of station. Sophie, stop. Outside, judgment time. Stacy, wow, 20 elements impressed. Nice and shiny. Very Victorian, Stacy. Nice texture. Great flavor. Lemon, very good to share. Mall drives, nice. Soggy macaroons, gently, very nice. 2 cakes, great. Triptych over algorithms. Liam, looks haphazard, topsy-turvy. Cake dense, overmixed, not even at all disappointing. Great idea, not good enough. Sophie, retrade ships on a high. Toy management, clever. Love design, slice texture, chewy but pleasant. Love flavor, not far off. Love green apple. Love the whole cake. Stephen, elegant group poke blow, but small. Sugar coating looks good. Love the cinnamon and apple. Delicious texture. Good bake. Using chestnut. Very pulley. Kate, bit simplistic, bit rough and ready. Build. Sugar coating good. Very yellow. Bit dry, overcooked, second mulch, batter, delicious, others too dry. So she had 1 cake that they were blown away by out of her 4. So I guess that was like, I mean, not to spoil it, but I guess that's the difference with that. The whole thing, like, literally came down to that. Wow, what a week. Stacy, possible star baker. Too mush. Stephen, his favorite. Trouble. Sophia saved herself, and no one go home. Kate, basic mold, don't out. Liam collapsed sugar. Go through the checklist again. So this must have been quite the debate and quite the run through the checklist because, yeah. 10th Bakers, congratulations on Savannah. Noel shakes, so Star Baker, I don't know what any of that says, but the Bakers are sitting there. Congratulations. Noel gets to do Star Baker. It's Stacy. Sandy starts crying already because she has the worst job having to do it, especially this week. Well done, everybody. Going home is Liam. And this is just rough. I mean, for me, I would have put Liam in the top 3 for sure. But he says that's cool. But then there's tears everywhere, all around, of course. Lots of comforting. Noel kisses Liam. Stacy gets to do her talks. Well done. They kind of talk about that. That was her time. No way. Week none. So we'll cover more of it in the dialogue. But this was hard because I really was rooting for Liam. Not to take away from Stacy or Kate. I mean, Stacy won the week. So it's like, I think that also introduced the other element. Because I would say it was between, at least in my opinion, between Liam, Stacy, and Kate, that over the season, Stephen and Sophie have kind of been the strongest. But yeah, so like, I don't know, I'm sure this is a few years ago, so I'm sure Liam's shining wherever he is. But yeah, so yeah, I'll run the tape. I'll be back here to run the tape in a second. All right, so we're running through here. The tape is running for, what is it, Forgotten Bakes Week, Forgotten Bake Weeks, and a week I'll never forget. Sandy having tea, Noel with some muffins or some cupcakes or something, Forgotten Bakes. Sometimes it's like I'm working on a psychic level. Oh, bass running. And then we get the preview part, dropping Clanger's technical tart, go to the intro, we see some sheep, maybe even an otter. Sweatshirts and vests on some contestants. Not everyone seems a thing. Everybody says, okay, this is going to be tough. Yeah, everyone's feeling it now. Be consistent, fine bakes, bang out fine bakes, isn't it? That's what Liam says. Okay, classic creations of the past that have been overlooked. Bedfordshire clanger, Cornish pastry, farm workers' lunch as opposed to a tin miner's lunch. Okay, so that was correct. You got to use sweet and savory, assembled by a tiny pastry builder called Neville. And you have 2 hours on your marks, get set, baking. And everybody's having a laugh at the name Clanger. Not my style. Really into making clangers conceptually. Stephen says conceptually, like a bit like airplane food. Got to deliver. Everybody's liking saying clangers. Some strange two fillings crew kind of talks about it. Got to get the fillings right. Can't be too wet or they'll leak. But don't overcompensate and make it too dry. Can't have a stodgy clanger. And Paul says it's about the pastry itself, not too flimsy. You got to work the dough the right amount. Not too hard, not too soft. So then we see what the suet looks like. Mixing it in, suet. Maybe some people are using butter, though, as well. Got to hold its shape when filled, replacing the butter or the lard. Suet costs less than butter, as Stephen said. So they check in with them. Mediterranean, herbs and spices, dates, what color are you going to get? They say Prue Paul or Noel color. Prue. Then Sandy tries to put some flour on Kate's thing. Liam's working fast. Hi, Liam. What about your pastry? Short, flaky, melt in your mouth. Got to be robust. Melt away. Favorite Granny Smith on the sweet side. Sun-dried tomatoes and pine nut. Pizza inspired. And they don't believe in dipping sauces. But we do, we do. We believe in you, Liam. diced veggie, apple, and jam. Got to make it, marriage of sweet and savory, cool concept. Bedfordshire caramelized onion for Stacy. That's good. Whatever. I don't know how to say a lot of these things. Cambrai and onion, apple and blueberry, Bedfordshire clangers, little river of custard. Oh, to float on the custard river, where, there's stuff that, that's good luck, Stacy, they say, sounds delicious. Wallace, there we see it. Further afield, char siu marinade, hoisin, soy sauce vinegar. Oh boy, sounds tasty. Pork loins going in there, and then dark chocolate and pecans. Have you practiced the char siu? Are you confident? Well, I don't know. I like taking every week as it comes. Don't want to be disappointed. Hope for the best, expect the worst. Kate's doing a Mexican bean burrito. Clanger on holiday. Burrito Bedfordshire, that's what it is. Brown rice. Sophie banana. So everybody's using apple or banana for a lot of it. And clanger's got to get your clanger in the oven. Baklava. Steven said baklava is pronounced different. Baklava. 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 I don't know how the correct way to pronounce it, the English way. Baklava. No. Baklava. I don't know. I can't get it. Sorry. Stacy's measuring hers. Everybody's doing a little, they're working it. Sweet and savory melange. Oh, boy, I like that. A lot of people are doing 50-50 split, where Steven's doing that 1/3, 2/3. And I'd say, if you're having it for lunch every day, I would go with 75-25 personally. Actually, I would say I could have dessert on Friday. I'll tell you what, give me a Bedfordshire clanger on Saturday for lunch, really, for real. That one I could go 1/3, 2/3. And you could just make it like, I'll take one of those Hostess pies and on one end. Don't leak, as we said. Everybody's worried about the leakage. What are you doing? I'm being a clanger and trying to get the right amount of browning. There's cracking. You get, there's a kind of thing of if you heat up the oven faster, it'll cook faster. Because Kate's is mine going to even be done? Significant leakage. One more minute. Frowns. Not going good. 1 minute left. Here they come out of the oven. I don't know if mine are pretty. Frowny faces. They get everything. Hot syrup. How baklava's made. And that's when Kate drops one of her clangers, goes clang and bang. And let's see, signature challenge, clangers at the end of the station, pick it up off the floor. Oh dear. Then we see a tent, we see different things, clangers face the judgment. So they say, okay, you're just going to go on and longer in the oven, hopefully it's delicious, Bruce says. We can't tell which end is which. I didn't have time to put decorations on. Pastry's tough. Need more seasoning, texture of rice, and that's all you get. And the sweet, they both bite at the same time. I really like that for rice pudding, not too claggy, isn't it? Under baking, Bruce says. That's what the problem is. Okay, Liam's presentation is off the charts good. Uniform, good job, thank you. Bit delicate. They cut it in half. It fakes to figure Sandy out. You're mean. Good flavor. Lovely pesto. Bang. Bruce says pastry's delicate. You can barely pick it up. Not quite robust for a clanger. And Mediterranean flavors are strong. And the sweet flavors are good. Right balance of fruit. Pastry's light, though. Next time, work it a bit more. Cool. Sophie, char siu, and banana praline. Love the pigs. You scored that, but it weakened it a little bit. Pastry's a bit too thick. It's spongy. I'm a bit disappointed. And take a bite of it. Lovely flavor, a bit dry. Your pastry's thick, a bit of a shame. Mediterranean medley. We go to Steven. These have a nice color. Paul doesn't like the bags they're in, throws them away. I mean, off screen. Robust, not the right shape. Good texture. Moist without slop. Beautiful flavor, spices. Monstrous meal. Gorgeous. Baklava, absolutely delicious, Prue says. Totally wrong shape, though. Almost collapsed, but the texture's good. Thank you, Stephen. Then Stacy, blueberry explosion. She's got like a bird decoration on one end, which is helpful. Nice and flaky, a bit soft, as I'd expect from a suet crust. Lovely. That's pastry, flaky like flavor, crisp on the outside, baked through, caramelized onions. Maybe it's I don't know what it is, a deer? Such good texture. Blueberries were raw, but, they didn't sog the pastry up. Then she gets a Hollywood handshake, a great clanger. And Liam gives her a big smile. I didn't think I did. Like, everybody's happy. Talking heads didn't look like a clanger. Steven says, what does a clanger look like anyway? As far as I'm like, it's a pink mouse. Bruce says good flavors, so Liam's happy. Little thing Paul finds for me to fall short on, but that's good. And Kate says, if you can't laugh, you'll cry. I dropped my clanger. A bit disappointing, Sophie says. So I got to figure out my position in the game. Then thunder and rain. 2 challenges to go before we decide who's going home. Semifinal. Right Bakers, a classic technique here for Paul and Peru. Any advice? Precision. Okay, he's finished. So they say, okay, leave the tent. Off you go, Pop. Recipe from Cumberland, Rum Nikki. Large sweet tart, forgotten beauty, rum-soaked fruity filling, tricky lattice on top, rum butter. Hour and a half. On your mark, get set, bake. Everybody gets off to work. Not super clear on the ingredients, very little detail. No one's heard of it before. Probably forgotten for a good reason, Steven says. And I don't even know what this is. Prue says, why Rum Nikki, Paul? Well, I found it 3 years ago. Delicious. It's kind of looks like the inside of a pecan pie. Melts in the mouth, they say. Pastry's flaky. Lovely. Rum is king. Gonna taste the rum, not the alcohol. Lattice. Enclose the pie so the alcohol can evaporate off. 230 years ago, this is how you would have done it. 35 minutes is how long you should bake it for a beautiful pie. What machine can they make the rum butter with? Nothing. A spoon in a bowl. Prue laughs. Everybody's chopping the dry fruit, rum, ginger, soak it, standard tart, just a filling. Soaked rum's not my bag, Stacy says. But I'll make it work. 50 milliliters, kind of how are we going to measure? Steven uses his hand. Liam uses a bowl. Smells like Christmas. And everybody's doing some mixing. Leave it to soak. Sweet short crust. Recipe's detailed. Make sure crust pastry, Sophie jokes. Very detailed. Got to be careful not to overwork it. And fruit tart with lattice. What's not to like? Lemon juice. I think Steven added lemon juice. Liam's fired up. Everybody's looking at their plate tins. Should I cover the whole thing or not? Cut it. So Sandy moves Liam's tin for him. And they start to fill the tin. Lined tin. Add the filling. Add butter. Cubes of butter on top. Rum Nicholas, Sandy says, if you want to be formal. 14 strip lattice. So everybody's trying to figure that part out. sweating, how to do the lattice, because there's no instructions or pictures at all. 14, making this lattice is way harder than I would have thought. So I won't be doing any lattice pies. Pretty much after watching this, I say, no thanks, I don't need to do a lattice. Okay, then they start putting everything in the oven. Should I trim the thing? How should I do it? Make the rum butter, 10 minutes to complete the technical. It's a lot of sugar, brown sugar for the rum butter, it looks like. People are sweating because you really got to stir it to get it not grainy. Started this in 1972 and it's still going. And some people are getting theirs whipped up. Other people are like, oh, well, I'm never doing this again. 30 seconds. Everybody's pulling everything out of the oven. And Liam's is raw. Time is up. Rum Nikki's on the gingham table. And they say, okay, Paul and Prue are looking for, beautiful lattice, rum butter, well-baked bottom. They won't know whose is whose. So the first one is Liam's. Didn't go to the end of the plate. It's not cooked. Raw base. And pastries raw. Okay. Next up is Sophie. Not to the end. No gaps in the lattice. The alcohol couldn't cook off. Bit grainy on the rum butter. Steven. Good coverage to the end. Lattice is sparse. Brown color. I could eat a lot of that, Bruce says. Stacy, lattice is good, but one too many. She argues with them about it. More cooked than it looked like. Flavors are lovely. Looks neat. Would be a pretty good pie. And this one shrunk back. Kate's, it's pretty nice. It's nice and thin pastry, less alcohol, good butter. Perfect rum butter. Bruce says, now they rank worst to best. 5th place, Liam. Obviously, you need to be in the oven longer. 4th place, Sophie. Lattice is closed. Too many strips on this one. And she says 14. He goes, there's 15. Okay, I've had problems with maths. Stephen cracks up at that. Kate's 2nd. Delicious. Best rum butter. 1st place is Stephen. Everybody claps. Gaps in the lattice. Flavors and fruit. Rum perfect. Butter grainy. He says, oh, that's unexpected. I do feel incredible. Yeah, I threw it in the oven. Kate says, I hope it redeemed me from the morning. But I'll have to do something spectacular to stay. Stacy says, 3rd in the technical. I'll have to go for it tomorrow. Puka. Sophie's not happy. Worst day I've had so far. And I want to get to the quarterfinals. Liam says, I don't like coming in last. I'm going to have to do vintage Liam. Okay, one challenge left before they choose Star Baker. Now, almost everybody has sleeves or a coat on or something. Okay, so Steven had to dip. Now he's coming back strong. Table talk, time to get good. Stacy, handshake, clanger. Bruce says, I love her to get Star Baker. She goes for it. Liam, Sophie, and Kate are in trouble. Kate did come in 2nd in the Rum Nikki, though. Liam didn't, came in last. Sophie's in a bit of trouble. Who could believe it? First one was okay, and then she came in 4th. If you got to get through, you got to pull up your socks and create something that's pure magic, which is interesting because that's what Liam does. Morning Bakers, Showstopper, Victorian Times, Blinking Chimney, Victorian favorite, the Savoy cake. It was inedible. It was because it had a delicate, but Paul and Prue want you to make a light, delicate sponge and a sugar coating. Savoy cake, it can be any flavor, but it has to be on a plinth created from sponge. Sponge engineering, Brunel baking, 3.5 hours, ready, set, bake. So they get to work, complete unknown. This cake has been around since 1890. Not like any cake we've done yet. I don't, but Sophie's happy. She's like, I like making cakes better than pastry. And Bruce says this would have been a showstopper to look at, but we want it to taste amazing too. And Paul says, yeah, this is tricky because it had to be in a elaborate mold, no raising agent, no fat. So the way you blend the whites and the yolks, really important. So we see some sequences of people doing it different ways. And Paul wants it exquisite. We see a bird. We see the Savoy cake. Okay, rose to prominence, a Victorian dinner, impressive height, stacked up on the base splint cake. It could be decorated with doily-like things. Naked sponge was the star with the hard baked sugar, which would preserve the cake for weeks to a month. And everybody's cracking eggs, making eggs, mixing eggs, folding eggs. Don't rush, everybody says. You don't want to take the air out of your eggs. Stacy's not holding back. She wants to do a lot in a short space of time. She goes, that wouldn't be me if I didn't. Bright lemon and orange Savoy, buttercream, St. Clement's buttercream, lemon cake. Why so complicated? Because it's week 8. Got to do a proper showstopper. You look organized. I think you'll pull it off. Let's see, Stacy. All right, zest of lemon. See, a lot of people are doing Victorian citrus zest, yuzu, elderflower, Liam's lemon and elderflower, Stephen's chestnut puree, rum and orange. Because everybody wants to take a plain, make a cake delicious, not boring. Candied nuts, chestnut puree, dark rum, cinnamon apples on Stephen's cake. Want to be too heavy? No, chestnut puree will add some structure and a little bit of flavor. Hope we ticked off all the boxes. Classic, simple, beautiful. Pecan caramel, love all the flavors. Update to the Savoy cake. Kate says, tell us about it. Well, Liver Building in Liverpool. Paul says, you want toasted pecans, almond extract, chocolate piping. I'm going to go for assembly of different sizes, 60 eggs. Wow. And if you practice this, yeah, go big or go home. Okay, exactly. 51. Whilst Liam's going to do it for magic. Witchcraft and wizardry, magic wand to propel myself to next week. Keep the judges spellbound. 3-tier sugar spun magic in the air, as Bruno Mars would say, or would say probably in the future, because I don't know. And then hopefully it comes out today. Steven's doing his with vegetable fat to grease up the molds. Butter. Some people are doing. So it comes out. You got to make sure the whole thing's lined, grease it up, and swash it around, and then flour. And then you got to get it in all the nooks and crannies. Fingers crossed on this one. Stacy covers hers in parchment with twine, or Sophie does, because she read that's how they did it. Hers is green apple, croquembouche or something. Doing petals, chocolate pool. Have you practiced it? Yeah. But they say that it was your high voice on practicing it, because I really want it to be beautiful. So people start putting stuff in the oven. Shoe buns is what Sophie's got to do. Can't open the oven. You don't want to open the oven until it's done for an hour, Steven says. Cake's in. Stacy's working on her macaroons, shoe pastry. This will be it. All except for Kate, who's got 4 more eggs or cakes to make. She's going for it too. Steven's cooking some hot nuts. Stacy's making pink macaroons. Bourbon spiced caramel for Liam. Shoe buns. Nice green going out with those shoe buns. Well, I better do good because I had a terrible day yesterday. Do you live in a tent? Yeah, identical to this. More lambs. Stuff comes out of the oven. People are testing to make sure it's done. And then turning them over. And that's when the biggest stress comes. I hope it's turned out right. Holy moly. And for the most part, a lot of them come out proper. So people are happy. There's no major problems. People start working on their plinths. Got to get it in there. Go on with it. Beautiful deck. Got to get on the decorating. Sophie gets her shoe pastry done. I got my shoe buns in. Steven starts to work on his roses. Kate's working on hers. Liam's working on his wands. Freeze them and poke them out. Stacy's making jelly. Madeline's meringues. Kate's and Sophie are still taking out their cakes. Steven did 150 roses for his mom's 60th birthday, so he could pull it off. That's when Stacy's oven door breaks. It's like a fold-out oven door, and so she tries to get it back on. They don't really show the behind the scenes of what happens, or we'll just use this other oven, or that she would have to heat the other oven up. OMG. Queen Victoria, Prince Albert, Nolda's a Prince Albert thing. She says it's more Angela Merkel. Plinths are coming out. Kate's plinth gives her trouble. And I think one of Liam's, not his plinths, but his higher layers has a trouble. And everybody's trying to regroup. Stacy finds another oven. Chocolate clock, chocolate petals. Steven's working on his roses, pink macaroons, and madeleines. Wow, Stacy really is driven in this one. Paul watches Steven getting the meringues in. Got to get them in the oven. Time's flying. Fill these shoe buns, chocolate flowers, quite a bit to do. Keep composed. And the liver bird fell apart for Kate. Liam's trying to get his lopsided. Kate redoes hers liver bird and chocolate. Everybody's doing the decorating. You got to get these touches on. Taking breaths, dissolving sugar, spunning sugar, shaping things. I don't even know what Sophie did with her top thing. If it's chocolate, she does this amazing design. Birds are chirping, and now it's time to judge. Savoy cakes will need to taste as good as they look. So Stacy, bright image, they look at it. 20 elements, wow. Impressed. They came out even. Nice shiny sugar crust. You struggle with the meringue, but this is very you, Stacy. Top is an orange one. Nice texture. Great flavor. Nice flavor. Texture's amazing. Lemon one. Good texture. Well flavored. Not as potent. Madeleines, macaroons, some jelly in the madeleines. Raspberry. Raspberry's nice. Macaroons are a bit soggy. I don't particularly like them. Try hard jelly. Very nice. Your cakes are good. It was massive work, a bit over ambitious, but an achievement. Fort Wizardor Savoy cake from Liam. Haphazard, topsy-turvy. Humidity kind of knocked over your tower. Elderflower and lemon. They take a bite. Quite dense. Overmixed. Not catching any flavors. Okay. And the caramel's disappointing. What? And quarterfinal, you need consistency. If you pulled it off, it was a good idea. Then we have the green apple from Sophie. Perfect shape of a Savoy cake. Nice high, spectacular to look at. Chocolate top is magnificent. Spray painted even with silver stuff. And really like the design. Celebrated the Savoy cake. Could take a slice. Paul bites, approved, says, okay, this is chewy. That's pleasant, though. I like the flavor. Turn it a couple more times. You lost some air. Not far off, though. Crim Diplomat. Love that green apple. Very good. Love the whole cake, actually. Thank you. Steven, Chestnut Rum Savoy. Very elegant, very simple, very small. What have we been doing the last few hours? We're working on the roses. They are beautiful, elegant. Sugar coating looks good. Walnuts fit in the mold. Clever. Middle, cinnamon apples. Lovely. and they bite the cake. Not what I expected, but it is delicious. The texture's lovely. Very brave of you to put chestnuts in there. Could have been heavy, but it actually hasn't affected the texture. Still quite light. Nevertheless, pretty design. And then Kate gets help from Sandy, liver building. I can see it, but it's simplistic, Paul says. Bottom plinth's got some issues, didn't turn out. It's a bit broken up, rough and ready, but I like the height. Bold piece, coating's good yellow. 60 eggs, they take a bite. Bit dry, though. Bit overcooked. Then the pecan one, much better cake. Delicious moisture. Anyway, I'm biased, Paul says, because I love the liver building. All the others are too dry. Everybody's exchanging looks. Liam's biting his fingernails. We see the outside. Table talk. Tremendous week for Stacy. Scrapping. And she did good, but she attempted too much. Savoy cake tasted amazing. Steven was my favorite. And cake's well made, but chestnut didn't get the flavors. Okay, who's in trouble? Sophie saved herself? Absolutely. If you make a cake like that, you can't go home. Liam and Kate, pretty basic mold on Kate. Rudimentary. Tried out sponges, but one was particularly good. Liam didn't come through, put sugar work, but it was too early. And Liam's claim, that balances out the other two. So we'll have to go through the checklist and decide. Something with Paul and the liver bird, and he ate the head of the liver bird, and we cut. Bakers are waiting. We get close-ups. Everybody comes out. Okay, bakers. I get to announce Star Baker. No. Person who's Star Baker, trademark twist in the clanger, Savoy cake, fabulous texture, flavor. Star Baker, Stacy. Everybody cheers for her. She's happy. And, of course, this is the hard part, really hard for me and Sandy and Liam and everybody else. I'm afraid the person going home, they don't know, but Kate and Liam. But Liam says it's cool, but, everybody tears up. He's got perspective. He says, I'll have perspective tomorrow morning. In all fairness, I'll look back and think, yeah, I did really, really good. Onwards and upwards now, just the beginning for me. At some point, I'll have Paul Hollywood's job. Don't stop baking. So, hard to lose Liam. He's done really well. He should be proud of himself. He just had a bad showstopper. That's what it came down to. And they say Prue's really proud of Stacy. She really wanted to be Star Baker. Bingo. She did it this week. Well done, Stace. Still a lot of hugs. Now's the time to be Star Baker, Paul says. Her Savoy cake was amazing. Didn't think in week nine, Stacy says. Tone it down for next week? No, not at all. And that's it. And then the episode comes to a conclusion. So, that's where we'll end. With that, thanks and good night, everybody. And I thank everybody who became a patron recently. Marissa, Draco, and Skelly, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Laura, Aaron, and Sally, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Brandon, Angela, and Justin, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Mary Lou, Matthew, and Michelle, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Stefan, Carolyn, and Megan, thank you. Thanks, and good night. John, Maddie, and Kim, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Sarah, Karen, and Andrew, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Brock, Jennifer, and Derek, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Tina, Wendy, and Anna, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Kelly, Chris, and Miss S, thank you. Thanks, and good night. And Margaret, Anna, and Hannah, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the show via Patreon or other means or supporting our sponsors. That's really how we're here. Free twice a week. We grow as a podcast by people joining our referral program and spreading the word at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer, or by you just sharing your natural joy of podcasts and showing people how to use their podcast app or soft selling them on podcasts overall. And then those people who Sleep With Me will work for, they'll find their way here. So thank you so much. And I'm going to tuck you in with one of our sponsors that's helped us expand the episodes in the feed. Thanks and good night. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots with like a tuck you in message here for our bedtime story podcast. We're trying out, and I kind of said this, free way to support Sleep With Me and bedtime stories from Sleep With Me is join our referral program. sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer, R-E-F-E-R. You get rewarded for introducing people to a free version of Sleep With Me, including access to Sleep With Me Plus. But most of all, just think about what your favorite podcast is or one of your favorite podcasts, and then support that podcast. It doesn't have to be Sleep With Me, but just to support your favorite podcast, because they could use your support right now. And if you decide, Sleep With Me is actually my favorite podcast, well, wow, blushing, seriously, even though it's imaginary here in this context, and support it at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, or listen to a show you love and see how they want to be supported. Thanks.